their voice represents the people, or should represent the people's voice that put them in that office. And I think that's what I like about it. And you really put this together last show, Sonia, where you were, talking about we need more people in the office who care about issues, who genuinely care about office, and men of God, real true believers that, will stand on their word and stand on, the things that they promise their constituents.
Welcome to the talk show, where we're kicking it and having fun on inspirational radio. The talk show, kicking it and having fun. So turn your radio up.
So I know last week we took a show off. I was out of town, went to go celebrate another year.
Come on now.
This Easter weekend. When I got back, though, it was a whole bunch of drama. And let me preface this, because I know probably probably 2 months, we've had shows that have included some conversations about Mike Todd. Just for our listeners, I've never been to Mike Todd's church. Matter of fact, before I started hearing a lot of the commotion and the news about him, I hadn't even heard a whole sermon from Mike Todd. But now that we've been kind of in this conversation for so long, I've actually heard a couple of sermons, and I got a chance to check out that Easter show that they did this weekend, and we're gonna talk about it because it's been a bunch of talk about that over this week.
Okay.
What up, Mr. Dynamite?
Dynamite ain't playing with us.
Pearson. That's his name, Justin Pearson.
Yeah, they got expelled from the floor, put them right out the house. I said, oh, wow. But I think they called for them to come back because they got so much support.
They did. Both of them. When anything like that happens, there's some checks and balances in place. So really the people who had voted them in ended up voting them back in there, basically. There's a committee, an oversight committee that voted unanimously to have them, get back into their seat. So, and it was all over. Huh?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it made national news. It's like, how do you get expelled for stating facts and stuff that's going on, even if we don't agree in this country with democracy? We agree to disagree. Even if we don't agree with each other, why did they get expelled? It's like, it's the truth. All these killings, all this stuff, they concerned.
Dion?
You know why they got expelled.
Yeah, don't
why
play.
they get expelled, Dion?
Well, we know why.
They pictures up there.
Yeah, he said they pictures up there. Don't get him started.
Well, the reason given was that they were out of order. There's certain protocol when you're on legislature that you should follow.
I seen a snippet of one of them things. This white guy got up there and started rapping and freestyling and yelling, talking about Putin needs to die and all this other stuff, and he didn't get put nowhere. They didn't even slam the gavel on him. You know how they be like, order. They wasn't doing. They were just sitting there like.
Well, so just if someone's watching and they want to, understand what happened. So the week before last, my son was saying that there was supposed to be like a national walkout where kids were going to walk out and kind of protest the lack of gun control and the gun violence and stuff like that. And so that really happened like to a mass scale in Tennessee. Like they planned it, all the teachers, students, they marched down to the Capitol, and Justin Pearson and Justin Jones went out there with their constituents and protested with them. And because they did that, that was supposed to be out of order. And to your point, Dion, there's been a lot of stuff, and I think one of the things that came up in their quote unquote hearing about it was, I guess there were some videos that were taken of them walking out and protesting and stuff, and this was the proof that was being used to them. But that happened to also be against the legislature rules and protocols. You're not supposed to be able to, film things while you were in posted and all of that kind of stuff. And so when that question was brought up, they were like, well, we were out of session. And they were like, well, if we were out of session, then what they were filming was out of session too. So what it was just this back and forth thing. And I last week I had the political hat on and I took it off and put it on. This ain't the political hat. This is just I'm gonna go ahead and just meld it all together today. But yeah, I mean, we call it a spade. It's Tennessee. It's Tennessee, and it was 3 people that actually did this thing, and one of them was a white lady, and she didn't get expelled at all. And so, I know the question begs, like,
wow.
Oh, you didn't know that part?
She didn't get expelled at all.
At all, no.
She wasn't out of order.
Not in their eyes.
Okay.
He said he just making a point.
Hey, continue, sir. My bad. I was just trying to get all the facts.
You trying to get all the
He said
facts?
he was getting all the facts.
Well, yeah, that's the fact. She wasn't out of order according to, not out of order enough to be expelled.
Gotcha.
And so, why am I talking about this? Why we're talking about this on a Christian show? Just to carry on from our last conversation, as Christians, and my concern is how, some of us as Christians address even situations like this. I know I heard a young lady today on TikTok, and she was saying that born again believer, she believes Jesus died on the cross for her sins, was resurrected, came back, left his Holy Spirit. it just, she was like, I'm a believer. She said, but the real, the reality that I walk into, even as she was a black lady, is that I still have this skin color. And she says that skin color doesn't matter, from my spirituality, but it seems to matter in this country. And so what she was really trying to point out is the empathy that we should have for each other as Christians, to try to understand each other's plight, even if we don't have that particular plight. And, I think what ends up happening with things like government and politics is we end up forgetting, the overall thing that binds us together, which is that believer process that she kind of walked through, at the beginning of her message. And, outside of that, it's pretty tough. I know we said it on the show before about being empathetic and, again, maybe you can't completely understand what, I as a black man is going through, or maybe I can't completely understand what you as a business owner is going through, but we need to make that attempt and do the right thing for all the people, involved. And especially if you have the Christian or the believer label, attached to your name. That's my thought, and that's my feeling. And these young men, I know, I don't know which Justin it is, but the one with the afro, he sounds like a preacher. I think he's a preacher. Both of them, I've seen them, kind of rebut some of the things that have, as their counterparts try to use scripture and say that they're believers and this is the reason why they're voting or doing the things they're doing. They do a really good job of really breaking down the fact that if that was true, then they would probably be making some other decisions when it comes to the people that they support. So That's my
Definitely.
thoughts.
Definitely articulate, intelligent young men. They stated facts and they stated, just the heart of how a lot of people feel with the guns and stuff and how they feel. And I don't think they not even saying not to carry. I think they just want more, regulation around it. Is that the understanding that I'm getting? If anybody else feel like that, they're not even saying they don't want people to carry it all. They want to get the regulate. It's like, hey, how much more of this we got to see before we do anything, So I think that's what they're, the bottom line. They said a lot, but at the end of the day, hey, y'all see the killing just like I do. What do about it as a nation? They said a lot. I don't want to, simplify their message, down that much, but I think at the end of the day, that's the major point that I got out of it.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I don't hear a lack of compromise. I don't hear a lack. I hear, I think my issue with this, and this goes back again to our last show, the thing that I see with politics is, a group where they're really trying to silence these young men so that their voice isn't heard. And their voice represents the people, or should represent the people's voice that put them in that office. And I think that's what I like about it. And you really put this together last show, Sonia, where you were, talking about we need more people in the office who care about issues, who genuinely care about office, and men of God, real true believers that will stand on their word and stand on, the things that they promise their constituents. And, I don't know details about these young men other than when this happened. But, so far what I've seen and what I've heard in their remarks and their rebuttals to this, and even how they handled it. I think they were very above board in even how they handled this situation that, obviously has a racial content undertone, to it, but they were above board and really a good sign of leaders. So
Definitely.
Those are the type of people I think we need more of.
Very articulate
on both sides.
Very articulate, intelligent, state facts. They had a very, their voice could be heard. And I believe that once you state a point where people can understand, they came with the professional hat. I mean, they was all the way live, professional, dotting I's, crossing T's. So once you say something and you bring a articulate, intelligent position to what you're saying, it'd be looking like, okay, you can be more received. But, then again, they were, some people's upset. Now, why we got these kind of people up here with this kind of sense? They got a lot of sense. So I respect the young men, for stating how a lot of people feel. I can't say everybody feels like that, but a lot of people feel like they felt. So I respect their position, what they said, how they said, and even the way they said it. Because you could go another way and say a kind of, you could say it crazy, but they said a very dignified way, very respectable representative. They represented us well. I will say that with the way they said it and how they said it.
I hear you. Well, the other thing that I think is definitely important for us to talk about. So this past weekend, and if you saw while Lasagna was talking, I was kind of pulling up TikTok. So let me ask you both: have you guys seen any of the snippets from the Easter play at Transformation Church, Pastor Mike Todd's church?
I heard a young man giving a commentary about it, and he played portion of it. He had the words going on the screen. So I didn't see the whole thing, but I did see a young man that we have seen before. He make a lot of commentary about different things. So I did see that, and I did see the words come across the screen, and he was not happy.
Welcome to the talk show.